Hello, my name is Sammy and I talk about human design on my channel along with other videos that I talk about forgiveness and self-love, and this is going to be one of those videos where I talk about shame and how shame plays a huge role in a lot of our lives and how much it is such a big core wound for the world in a lot of ways. But it is very personalized to ourselves, or we feel like it's personalized to ourselves. And it's something that isn't really spoken about. And it's definitely not spoken about a lot on how to overcome that, or to get in a place of not feeling shameful or being more aware of who you actually are rather than the parts that you feel as if you're ashamed of. As some of you might know from what I've talked about in my other videos, I did struggle with an eating disorder, and there is a lot of shame for that. I've had a lot of shame in my life, and I want to tell you, because I want to have this vulnerability on this channel for a reason, to show that nothing that you're going through is something you should be ashamed of or something that you can't overcome, because it actually isn't really part of who you are. I think that our society has started to almost make mental health issues, which are incredibly valid and 100, I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying that what you're going through is not valid, that you do not deserve love, that you do not deserve support and help. That's actually exactly what I am saying. However, I want to indicate that it actually isn't part of your real, true identity. But I think in our world, it is so easy to get caught up. I mean, I did it too, of like I started with my eating disorder literally was my identity. And then my depression was my identity. And then anxiety and this just feeling of shame about how I was always constantly in this state of feeling alone and feeling like I was working through something gave me some sense of purpose and identity. And what I didn't realize was, over a period of years, I got so drained and so burnt out and so down from having my identity always revolve around this shame and some mental health issue. Not that I wasn't fixing them, but I was unable to overcome it fully because I was still unable to accept myself for who I was, because the shame I had from the things I had already done to myself. So when I had my eating disorder, when I felt like I had finally overcome it, I got anxiety and panic attacks from my identity being taken away from me. And so this gave me a new identity, but my anxiety came from the fact that I didn't feel worthy as I was without trying to starve myself, without having that shame attached to who I was. Because at the time, I did not feel like I could be a person or good enough without shame and some crisis attached to who I was. And I think a lot of that comes from this core wound of feeling like we are not enough, we are incomplete, we are unworthy from the moment that we are growing up. This isn't to say that I did anything wrong. I just think it is the way that a lot of us grow up, to believe that we're not good enough. And by not believing you're not good enough, you have to attach shame to some part of your outside appearance, who you are, how many friends you have, how many social media friends you have, the likes that you get on photos, what you do and what you show to the world, what your job is, how much money you make, your relationship status. I mean, whatever, go on and on. You get the point. We try and attach who we are to these things that actually are outside of who we truly are. I'm not saying that your friends or the people that you love or your life isn't a part of you, but your soul essence, who you actually are, the true version of what's inside of you, the essence that came to this body to live on this earth, to live in this life with this identity, is really difficult to do. It is incredibly difficult to not get caught up in the ego aspects of the ego that in all reality tells you that you are not good enough. But you are, and when you look into that soul essence of who you are, instead of trying to get confirmation of the love that you already are, you lose sight of that soul perspective, and that makes it easy for the ego to then just jump in and become this version of who you think you should be. And then there's shame when you feel like you're going back to the soul, real version of who you are, which makes it difficult to overcome mental health issues. It makes it difficult to feel like your life is complete, like you have made it, like you have this sense of peace. Because it isn't really about anything other than a sense of peace. But when you're so used to things being chaotic, things never being done, things never being enough, feeling like you're always trying to overcome and better yourself from the feeling of shame, it's great to want to better yourself if it's coming from a place of love and feeling like you're good enough where you are, but you can always grow. That's different. What I'm saying is when you feel like you have to literally pull yourself up just to a normal sense of who you are, because you're trapped in this emotional manipulative cycle that tells you that you're not enough and that you need to attach your identity to some sort of crisis, then when you do get out of it and you do feel peace, I think a lot of us can't accept it. But it's like what we don't realize, or what I didn't realize for a long time, was that's actually just the beginning. Once you feel and start acknowledging that peace and comfort and the satisfaction of knowing that you are enough just from who you are on a soul level, then things become easier. You start to grow in a positive way. You start to feel like you can share who you actually are, that you don't have to put up a front for anyone. You don't have to be on all the time. You don't have to do anything for anybody. And then that makes you recognize who is around you that has that love for you, that actually truly sees you for that version, that doesn't expect anything from you, that just enjoys you for who you are. And then you start to be surrounded by people who do that and that you do for them. And you start to feel love by seeing that in another person. And it makes you start to feel this universal connection of love and peace and tranquility. And it makes you want to spread healing on that level, on soul to soul level. And instead of feeling like your identity is attached to a feeling of shame, you get to walk every single day and be a living example of love and the extension of love that can literally heal just by being who you are. I love you guys.